Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome. Pro-life leader Frank Pavone here, bringing you my daily diary, bringing you the daily accountability and transparency that I very much believe in, and letting you know what I did all day, starting Monday, the 19th of May, through Friday, the 23rd of May of 2025. Monday, the 19th. So in the morning, I was here at my office. And very early, I took a ride over to the Quest Diagnostics lab because I had to get some blood work for a routine physical. Took care of that at 6 in the morning, then came back and did some work at my desk until I was picked up at 8:15 by one of our volunteers to drive me to the Orlando airport to fly to New York. Now at my desk, in the car, at the gate, and on the plane, I was doing various work on my laptop and some email topics I had to deal with, donor contacts, arranging a program coming up with the pro-life prisoners that were pardoned by President Trump, our Good Shepherd Project, the clergy online seminar, helping them to deal with the abortion issue, approval of appeals, an upcoming event in Jacksonville with donors that we're planning, a new group that's formed that I'm on the board of dealing with the abortion drug technique, invitations to be on podcasts, the question of my reinstatement to the priesthood and what we're doing for that, planning the Florida March for the Preborn, tasks with our communications director, reaching out to various media, work on upcoming trips and invitations, visits to Congress, planning and following up on those, website and pro-life up pages for the various states, working with our team on that, email blasts, ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, and the accomplishments booklet for Priests for Life. All of these were things that in the time I just mentioned and in the other times I'll mention that I was doing computer work, things that were taking my time. Got on the plane, 11 a.m. flight, went to JFK, landed at 1:44 p.m. And when I was there at JFK Airport, a lot of memories. I hadn't been in that particular airport in a while. That was the airport I would usually fly out of to, well, actually, I guess it was mostly that as well as Newark Airport, but often flew out of there to go to Rome during the times that I was working in Rome. But I lingered there at the airport a little bit just to grab some late lunch and then to be in contact with our international coordinator, because then I took an Uber, took about an hour from JFK to get into Midtown Manhattan, where I met up with our international coordinator at a small, inexpensive hotel there in Manhattan, settled in there, unpacked my things. Let's see, what did I do? I hopped on the phone, had a afternoon conversation with some of our staff and administrative team, and then did some more work on my computer, and then at about 5, went down to the lobby, met back up with our international coordinator, Bob, and we walked over to another hotel where the event was being held for the Holy See mission to the United Nations, more specifically for the Path to Peace Foundation, which supports the work of the Holy Father at the United Nations. Now, we've been working with that particular organization and with the Holy See mission for decades. We started out under Cardinal Renato Martino just at the same time that I took over Priests for Life in 1993. So it was a great evening, and one of the people we met right away was the Secretary of State for the Vatican, Cardinal Pietro Parolin. He was one of those thought that perhaps he could become the Pope, and that was a real possibility, of course. But he remained Secretary of State, and we had a nice conversation with him. Also, the Pope's representative at the United Nations, Archbishop Caccia, whom we've also known for a very long time and have helped out in various ways and will continue to help out. So in any case, we had a gala dinner. It was great speeches, various other cardinals there. Oh, I had a nice conversation with my friend Archbishop Broglio, who's the current president of the Bishops' Conference, and he and I go way back. We lived and worked together in Rome back in the late 90s. So he was there, I was happy to connect with him and with many other attendees there, both at the reception, cocktail hour, and also at the dinner itself, after which Bob and I walked back to the hotel, While we were walking back to the hotel through the streets of Manhattan, I was on the phone with our executive director, giving her a report about the events of the day. And then got to the hotel, went to bed because my Uber in the morning of Tuesday, the 20th of May, was scheduled to pick me up and did pick me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So let's see. 5 o'clock in the morning, went to the train station, grabbed some breakfast there, made sure my ticket was all in order, and hopped on an Acela going from Penn Station in New York down to Union Station in Washington, D.C. So on the train, took out my laptop once again and worked on items such as the What We Are Doing document. It's a page of our website that keeps you updated about the activities of all the different departments. Again, in the same spirit of openness and transparency, we've got nothing to hide. Communication with Alveda King about a book that she is working on and help I'm giving to her on that. A special prayer event coming up in Washington that I'm taking part in for the justices of the Supreme Court. I was communicating with the organizer of that. More communication about our upcoming donor meeting in Jacksonville, donor surveys that are coming in that we always evaluate and we pay attention to what you say when you give us your responses. The coalition of pro-life groups to stop the funding of Planned Parenthood, communication about that. Our digitized e-books that you can read online, you can even flip the pages online. Some communication about that, our upcoming newsletter, and more trip invitations galore. So I took the train down to Washington, D.C. Now, we arrived there like at 9:30 in the morning, so it was a very good and smooth train ride. Once I arrived there in Washington, D.C., I took an Uber over to our Washington, D.C. office right behind the Supreme Court, where our Washington, D.C. staff person was. Went into the office and began working with her, doing various things. I also made a quick video outside because we were greeted with good news about various progress being made in Congress. So I worked there with our D.C. staff person for a number of hours and working on just a wide range of things relating to broadcasts, website, newsletters, communications with people via email, and all kinds of other things that, and not to mention, of course, the matters at hand with Congress. I also had, a number of phone calls with people back at the office. Both she and I had some phone calls with our website, with our social media coordinator, with one of our website technicians. We were back and forth on the phone with our executive director, our communications director, press releases going out, and things like that. So we walked up down the street to get some lunch, which we then took back to the office, kept on working throughout. And then at about 3:30, 3:30, we left the office. She took an Uber over to a hotel where we were going to be meeting with pro-life leaders later, and I took a walk down the street to the Congressional Longworth office building, where I had an appointment with one of the new members of Congress, who's a good friend, and also stopped in on a number of other offices. The vote was imminent for the defunding of the abortion industry, so obviously we talked about that, but we also talked about other pro-life legislation. So I was over there in the congressional offices. I did a little video in front of the Capitol building, sent it up to social media. And then after my meetings there, I took an Uber to another hotel where we were hosting a hospitality gathering for dozens of national pro-life leaders. So the leaders came, we were at the hotel, we had a nice evening with some food and a lot of socializing, a lot of strategizing, side meetings galore among the leaders, as you can well imagine. So that took place from about 5:30 until about 9:30. And it's always delightful to be with these colleagues, these great leaders in the pro-life movement. I'm just looking here to make sure I don't miss telling you anything. Okay, now the next day, Wednesday the 21st, first of all, let me say a couple of things I had to do on my emails. My reinstatement to the priesthood is the topic of a lot of communication. Town hall, getting ready to publish an op-ed of mine, some communication about that. Upcoming trips and also those digital ebooks, we're promoting them like crazy. Check out prolifeproducts.org for that. But then Wednesday the 21st, this was the quarterly meeting of the pro-life leaders, otherwise known as the 115 Forum. And by the way, the reason for 115 is Psalm 115, not to us, Lord, but to your name give the glory. We're not in this for our glory in any way, shape, or form, but the Lord's. And so this meeting began. We first of all started with breakfast at the hotel and sat with a couple of leaders at the breakfast buffet. And then we walked over down the street to the Museum of the Bible where we hold these meetings, and we started the meeting. I welcomed the leaders as they came, and we started in with the presentations. Presentations from our friends at SBA Pro-Life America, from National Right to Life, the executive director of that whole organization, the leaders of 40 Days for Life, the leaders of many other groups as well, Life Issues Institute, CFAM, leading work at the United Nations, and various other groups, Vitae Foundation. Leaders from all these different groups were there. There were about 70 leaders, actually. And we started off with these litigation reports, legislative reports, research reports. During the break, I networked with all the different leaders, gave an update on what Priests for Life is doing. And then at noon, we had a representative from the White House. Jack Mantua from the Office of Public Liaison at the White House came and talked to us, took questions, really great interchange. He stayed with us for lunch, sat with him and other leaders at the lunch table. After lunch, we resumed our meeting. 40 Days for Life leaders, as I mentioned, gave updates. I had to step out of the meeting at about 2:45 because I had been invited to the White House. So I went to an event at the White House with President Trump. We had the senators, the two senators from Florida were there, so I got a chance to greet Senator Ashley Moody, Senator Rick Scott. Also, Congressman Byron Donalds was there. He's going to be our next governor of Florida. He's likely to win that election next year. So I chatted with him. While I was there, I also was chatting with Tina, who heads up Moms for Liberty, a group you likely know about. But I also had on the phone one of the right-hand people for Dr. Ralph Reed for the Faith and Freedom Coalition, and we were talking about the Road to Majority conference coming up at the end of June. We had to hammer out some things on that. I'm going to bring some priests along to that conference. So I had that phone call while this event was gearing up. The Florida Gators were there, and they were honored by President Trump. But the main thing was the interaction with all the different political and pro-life, not so much pro-life leaders, but the various political and other leaders who were there. When that event ended at the White House, I grabbed an Uber, went back to the hotel where we had the pro-life leaders gathering, met up with our executive director, and we debriefed on the day and had dinner and planned for the follow-up to the pro-life leaders meeting as we always do. Then, Thursday the 22nd, I remained in Washington, D.C. for a number of different meetings. What I did in the morning, connecting with our Washington, D.C. office once again. So I went from the hotel to the D.C. office, connected with our staff person there. We connected with our full staff for the morning briefing, and then we just launched into a long work session. Now, the good news had reached us that the bill for defunding the abortion industry, but it was the big, beautiful bill of President Trump containing many, many things that all of us voted for in November, had gotten passed by the House. Now, that's just half the task. It has to still be passed by the Senate. But I did a quick video about that and sent it over to our social media department. Then our DC office work began, and I worked with our staff person for the bulk of the day, intersecting with staff at the office, working on projects, activities, communications, government things, website-related things, newsletters, other plans. At 10 a.m., I had a call with a key leader in the Philadelphia area, and we were planning some activities for Priests for Life and other initiatives. Then our DC staff person and I walked up the street to get some lunch, came back to the office, continued working throughout the course of the afternoon. At 4, I took an Uber back to the hotel, did some work on my laptop there, connecting with the staff. Some of the items dealing with on the computer had to do with being on the board of a new pro-life group that has formed to advance knowledge of an intervention for pregnant moms with regard to the abortion drugs, trips and plans for trips and flights, activity regarding the National Association of Christian Lawmakers that I am an advisor for, approving an action alert and a parish fax for Priests for Life. And then at 5:30, I was picked up at the hotel to go to another hotel where there was a nice evening gala event put on by the America First Policy Institute. Now, this is a major organization. Check out AmericaFirstPolicy.com. People from the first Trump administration who kept on working on policy in the intervening years and are now, many of them, in cabinet positions. I saw Secretary Brooke Rollins, for example. Secretary Doug Collins was there. Many other cabinet secretaries, former secretaries, governors, senators, congressmen, and administration officials, past and present, were all there, gathered for a dinner in which I took part and gladly interacted with everybody there. It was quite enjoyable. And met with our friend Babu Nanwe and from Goya Foods, and a good supporter of the pro-life movement. After that was finished, I went back to the other hotel, went to sleep, and then early the next morning, Friday, the 23rd, took my Uber to the airport at 6 in the morning. At the airport and at the gate and on the plane, did various work relating to things like columns that are being written, website work that is being done, the Florida March that is being planned, and booking of interviews both ways. We interview guests, or we come as guests onto other outlets. A special broadcast with pro-life prisoners who were freed by President Trump. I'm planning a special broadcast with them, which you will see, connecting with some of our colleagues in the Hispanic pro-life movement. I had some communication with them. Put out the photo of me with the Vatican Secretary of State, as I mentioned from the other day. Parish faxes being approved, email blasts being approved, work in calling senators to approve the great, big, beautiful bill that had been approved by the House. Now we have to get the Senate to do so, and we did communicating about that. My flight landed in Orlando just after 10:30 a.m., got right away into an Uber back to my Priests for Life office. On the way there, doing more work on my computer. And when I got to the office, immediately began meeting with staff and got some lunch after I unpacked. During lunch, had a phone call with our executive director and one of our key people who work in the support of the pro-life movement and also doing media work. We had a strategic phone call among the three of us. After which, I caught up on more work at my desk and with the staff, and then at 2 o'clock had to go into a board meeting with a group called Pro-Life Ribbon. We were planning various activities, and then that board meeting lasted until about 3:20. Connected with our executive director, who was here doing some taping, follow up on the 115 Forum leadership meeting. And then at 3:30, I had a phone call with one of our development directors, a call with one of our high donors. At 4 o'clock, I had a phone call for about 35, 40 minutes with the head of a major secular media outlet, and we had a good conversation about ways that we could work together. After that, I came in here to the studio to meet with one of our video producers and also our social media coordinator. And then after that, I was kind of tired. I went back to my office, checked into a few things, rested a little bit, and then had a late dinner, after which I did more desk work until going to bed, not too late. And that was Friday the 23rd. So that's what I did from the 19th to the 23rd of May. I thank you for following me with these updates. I hope that it inspires you to know that we are using every penny and every minute to advance the cause of the unborn with tireless activity. And this is just me. We have an entire team of 50 people working hard all day as well for you and for the unborn. So let's together look forward to the victory. God bless you. Talk to you soon.
Changing our world is not a matter of wishful thinking. We have to participate in the process of making good laws and stopping bad ones. Your voice is needed. At stopabortionnow.org, you can sign up for email alerts that will call you to action when your lawmakers need to be urged to protect the unborn. These alerts make it easy. You will have the number to call and the message to convey. Progress cannot happen without you. Sign up for the action alerts today at stopabortionnow.org, sponsored by Pro-Life Vote.
Every life is a gift. Every heartbeat is a miracle. But right now, the most innocent among us are in danger. Priests for Life is on the front lines, speaking truth, offering healing, and building a world where every child is welcomed and loved. Join us in this sacred mission to end abortion. Stand with life. Stand with Priests for Life. Scan the QR code right now and help save unborn babies today. God bless.
Hello, I'm Dr. Alveda King, board member of Priests for Life. More money is being spent in America to kill babies in the womb than to save them. Together, we need to change that, and today I want to invite you to support our work at Priests for Life. Why ours rather than other groups? Because we have a unique team that helps lead in every arena of the fight against abortion, and we activate the churches where you find people who are most likely to get involved in that fight. To awaken a pastor about abortion is to awaken thousands of people he serves. We do not receive church funding or government grants. We rely on you for individual donations. We have a very high evaluation among charities and top security on our donation site, prolifegift.org. You can go there for a one-time gift or to become a monthly donor, or you can call us at 321-500-1000.
So many companies support abortion, but today you can make sure that with every call you make, you are supporting the unborn. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless carrier. They have partnered with Priests for Life and donate a portion of their earnings to our work. We invite you to switch to them at patriotmobile.com/unborn. Keep your number and your phone and get the same coverage you have now, but also get the peace of mind knowing your every call supports life.
Hello, I'm Sam Brownback, and I've worked alongside Father Frank Pavone for many years on the cause of life. He's a true champion, and the Priests for Life have been wonderful champions of this great cause, of the cause of human dignity of every human at every phase of life, from the very first moment of conception until its natural death. The human species, the human person, each and every one are full of dignity, priceless in value, and Priests for Life stand for that. Join their work with them, work alongside them in this battle, this incredible battle, this fantastically important battle for life in the United States. We've got to win this fight. Join them.